Welcome back to JMC Live. We have the wonderful Stacy Harp, who has been married for 18 years. 18 wonderful, glorious years. Now, Stacy, how did active Christian media come about? Was this something slow progressing? Because you talked about getting married. You and your husband were doing music. Where did active Christian media come in from that? Or you wanted to start from where the music led to active Christian media?
Well, it's interesting. Because I've been married for 18 years now, first let me just say that it hasn't all been glorious. The first 3 years of our marriage were like what we lovingly say, hell on earth. It was pretty bad. But, I have to tell you that because of the fact that the Lord has given my husband and I a desire to really pursue Him and make sure that we put Him first in everything that we do, or at least try to. We try to apply the principles of our lives. The difficulties we had in the first 3 years of our marriage, we worked out. We went to marriage and family therapy. We went to individual counseling. We went to marriage counseling. We went to groups. We had mentors that supported us at church, because there was so much garbage that we both brought in from our family of origin. And so I just want to clarify, it hasn't always been easy, but pretty much 15 years have been glorious. And so I just thought I'd tell you that. Mm-hmm. But basically, after we got married, and we worked through the first 3 years of our marriage, which was really difficult, what we did was we agreed that he would support us, and that if I worked, I would save whatever I made, and I would go to school full time, because my goal was to get the master's degree and become a marriage and family therapist. And so what we did was that's what we did. He worked, he went to school, earned his bachelor's degree, because when we got married, he only had his associate's degree. When we got married, I only had my high school diploma. And so over the years, what happened was I got my education, I earned it, and then when I was in my graduate program in 2001, and then eventually began to blog around 2004, what happened was we found that the blog world became a really cool new medium to go out and share the gospel. We found that we could blog our biblical views and our conservative values and things like that. And I had a guy stumble across my blog who was doing a promotion for Ronald Reagan. And the promotion was for a DVD called In the Face of Evil, which was about Ronald Reagan's confronting Russia. And so, anyway, so this guy contacted me and he said, I'd like your blog, and I was wondering if I could pay you to put up an ad of the Ronald Reagan DVD on your blog. And I said, sure, why not? And anyway, from there, it gave me the idea. I thought, well, if this guy's willing to pay me to put up an ad for this, I wonder if Christian publishers would be willing to pay me to advertise Christian books. And so at the same time, I had just been introduced to a company called the National Religious Broadcasters. And this same man who talked to me about the In the Face of Evil DVD invited me to go down and be a part of the NRB Expo, where he happened to be working with the Chronicles of Narnia film. As a result of that, he offered me a pass to be with him and hang out in the Chronicles of Narnia booth. And I said, sure, yeah, I'd love that. That'd be great. It was here in Anaheim, where I live, in Orange County. And so as the time got closer, it was like the day before, this guy gives me a call and he says, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't want you to be my guest. I'm like, what? And so I told my husband, I said, this guy isn't going to get away with this. I'm going to go down there anyway. I'm going to get all dressed up and I'm going to go down there and I'm going to see what I can do. And so that's what I did, not knowing that it was $100 a day to get into the expo. So what I did was I went down there, I hung out until a couple people, they were talking to me, and being the sweet, lovable person I am, people just love to give to me. So after a couple of hours of hanging out in the lobby two people from various ministries invited me into the expo. They both gave me free passes for the rest of the week. I went through the NRB Expo, and every Christian book publisher that I saw there, I stopped and I talked to them, and I said, I have this great idea. I think that you guys should consider using the blog world to promote Christian books and stuff. What do you think? And they said, well, we don't really know much about it, but if you have a card, we'd be happy to talk to you. And I said, well, I don't have a card, but if you give me your card, I'll contact you. So after a week of doing that, 2 days after that, I went down to the city of Orange where I live. I got a business license, told my husband, you know what, I'm going into business. I'm going to do this. And I collected all of these business cards from the expo. I eventually called them all up, and the first month I was able to place something like 15 books for 4 different Christian publishers.
Wow. So that's where it all started, huh?
That's where it all started. And it's so funny because I had at that point, remember this was about 2005 at this point when this happened, so the blog world was relatively new. So at that point I had been connecting with a lot of Christian bloggers, and so I set up this program. The Lord gave me this idea, and I basically told these bloggers that if they wanted to review Christian books, to sign up for my program, and I would send them the Christian books, and the publishers would pay me to place them. We would do a review and put up an ad, and then for fun, I also threw into my little package an audio interview with the author of the book. So that's how the podcast and eventually Active Christian Media on the radio show actually began. And actually, it was actually called Mind and Media originally because I hadn't changed the name at that point.
So where's the change to Active Christian Media come into play? So if it was Mind and Media, when did you make the shift?
Well, the switch came about 2 years after that, primarily because I'm really an activist at heart, and I didn't really like the name Mind and Media. It was just kind of because basically this company just all of a sudden, poof, there it was. And I decided to change the name to Active Christian Media for a couple reasons. Number one, I believe in being an active Christian. I think Christians should not be on the bench. I think we should be in the game. And so being an activist, all my life people have told me, oh, you're an activist, you speak out about stuff. And so because I'm an activist and I do speak out against stuff, that was primarily the reason. And then the extra added benefit is it started with an A, so in directories it always is at the top of the list.
Well, I think that you're going in the right direction, because I know you well enough to say you are an activist. You are very adamant about different topics and issues and things that have happened. And looking throughout the history of your interviews, I continually see you mold an interview of the book or a ministry or a band, but then a topic will hit and you will dissect that to so many levels, from a collegiate level to a Christian level to a family level to even a woman's point of view, and you blend all these different things together into a collage of what you call Active Christian Media. I call being the body of Christ and getting the message across. I think what you're doing is amazing. I don't know how you do it sometimes, but you pull it off. It's not an easy job, I know. I mean, I'm the young pup here trying to do what you're doing, and I don't have enough hours in the day to get things done sometimes.
Well, it's so funny, I have to say that the Lord has given me wisdom, and I honestly have to say one of my biggest influences in radio has been Janet Parshall. And Janet has been very much like a spiritual mother to me. Mm-hmm. And when I first heard her program way back in 2002, I was like, I cannot believe there's somebody out there who's on the radio talking like this. I was really captivated not only by the fact that she was talking about issues that were important to me, but that she was a woman and that she was an older woman, old enough to be my mother. And so for me, that was really cool. So basically what I did was I patterned my show after what I've heard her do. And I listened to how she interviewed people, and I started learning, you know, how to do an interview just kind of naturally by listening. I learn best when I listen. And then I would listen to other radio shows as well as hers, and I'd see who was on the show as a guest, and I would say, you know what? I think I could probably interview that person. And so I would get on the internet, find out where they were. I would send an email, tell them that I was the president of this ministry, and the door just opened, and people would talk to me. But let me tell you the story about the big thing about how I knew for sure the Lord wanted me to do active Christian media. Do we still have time for that?
We certainly will. When we come back, she will tell the story of how this came about. Be right back.